Hello, it's good to have you with us at this hour. I'm Daniel Che here to provide you with the latest. First up, domestic politics. April's general elections, to be exact, candidate registrations complete now. The 13-day campaign period kicks off on Thursday. Hwang Jie starts us off with the party's campaign pledges and election goals.
Korea's political parties have set their slogans for the April 13th general election, in which 300 lawmakers will be elected, determining the political landscape for the next 4 years. The ruling Saenuri Party is promoting itself as the party of a working parliament, saying lawmakers who are elected will return their salaries if they fail to fulfill the campaign pledge. The party is also using the phrase politics of betrayal to slam the opposition for preventing the passage of what it says are key economic bills. With that, the party is aiming to win a majority of the 300 seats up for grabs. On Monday, the party will launch its election committee, which is widely expected to be led by 5 members, including the party's chief Kim Moo-sung and floor leader Won Yu-chol. The main opposition Minju Party of Korea, on the other hand, is calling for a referendum on the Park Geun-hye administration's poor handling of the economy. It says the unemployment rate has shot up and the gap between rich and poor has only widened under the president's policies. Kim Jong-in, the party's interim leader, is expected to lead the election campaign committee that's set to kick off as early as Sunday. The Minju Party of Korea is aiming to win around 130 seats in parliament. The minor opposition People's Party, meanwhile, aims to grab 20 seats, enough to give it a negotiation bloc in parliament and create a 3-party system. All 3 parties are gearing up to the official campaign period that begins on Thursday. Hwang Jie, Arirang News.
Also on Thursday, the 2016 Nuclear Security Summit with the leaders of 50 countries and 4 international organizations taking part begins in Washington. According to a top government official in South Korea, during the 2-day meeting, President Park Geun-hye will urge global leaders to implement a set of recently adopted UN sanctions on North Korea. She will also issue a warning to Pyongyang to halt its provocations. North Korea has been escalating its bellicose rhetoric in addition to conducting a nuclear test and launching several missiles since the beginning of the year. North Korea is demanding Seoul apologize for a military drill targeting key facilities in the north, and the south has responded with a warning. Kim Hyun-bin has the latest in the latest exchange of strong words between the two Koreas.
North Korea threatened to turn South Korea's presidential office and other key facilities into ashes if it doesn't get an apology from South Korea for hurting the dignity of its leader, Kim Jong-un. The ultimatum was issued Saturday through the North state-run Korean Central News Agency.
If South Korea ignores our final warning, our long-range artillery on the border will engage in military action.
The report also contained a video showing Kim Jong-un presiding over a heavy artillery drill on the border, though it did not say when the footage was taken. Pyongyang accuses Seoul of staging a drill last week that it says targeted the office of the North Korean leader. The South Korean military has confirmed that its Air Force did conduct a large-scale air raid drill simulating strikes on key facilities in the north. During the drill, 16 fighter jets carrying precision-guided missiles escorted a military transport plane carrying a special forces unit. The South Korean military urged the north to stop its rhetoric and warned that its provocations will lead to the regime's destruction. A South Korean military official told Seoul-based Yonhap News that its military is ready to counter any threats from the north, though they have spotted no unusual movement north of the border. The ultimatum is the latest bit of rhetoric against Seoul amid an ongoing South Korea-U.S. military exercises that have heightened tensions on the peninsula. North Korea says the drills are a rehearsal for war, while Seoul and Washington say they are purely defensive in nature. The North has made similar threats to destroy South Korea's presidential office in the past, but has never followed through with military action. The drills between Seoul and Washington are scheduled to run through end of April. Kim Hyun-bin, Arirang News.
A group of Korean victims of Japan's wartime sexual slavery has filed a petition against the Korean government to protest last year's landmark agreement with Tokyo, resolving their decades-long dispute. The civic group Lawyers for a Democratic Society said Sunday it filed the appeal as a representative of the 29 Korean victims who are still alive and the families of 8 who have passed away. The organization said the Korea-Japan settlement is unconstitutional because it left the victims out of the negotiation process. Under the deal, Japan apologized and agreed to provide 1 billion yen, or roughly $9 million, for a foundation Korea will establish to provide support for the surviving victims. It's been more than 3 months since the Korea-China Free Trade Agreement went into effect on December 20th, and Korean exporters have been reaping the benefits. A new report by the Korea International Trade Association shows 4% of exports benefited from lower import duties in the first month, and the figure jumped to 20% in the second month. The report says electronics led the way with an increase of more than 97%, followed by the metal, tool, textile, and garment sectors. China's non-tariff barriers are nearly 4 times as broad as Korea's, which could erode the benefits of the trade pact, prompting policymakers to launch a bilateral working group to tackle that problem. Belgian prosecutors have charged 3 men suspected of links to last week's attacks in Brussels with terror offences. An investigating judge issued an arrest warrant for one of the 3, Faisal C, and charged him with terrorist murder, attempted murder relating to terror plots and links to terror groups. Some reports have linked the man to a man pictured in CCTV footage moments before the airport attack, but the Belgian authorities have not verified that yet. Meanwhile, a march planned for Sunday against the attacks has been cancelled after the government urged people to avoid putting an additional strain on the overtaxed police force. The suicide attacks on the Brussels airport and metro killed 31 people and injured 300. The Brussels airport will remain closed until Tuesday for repair work and the installation of new security measures. Over to the U.S. presidential primary, Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton was feeling the burn over the weekend as Bernie Sanders swept all 3 states holding caucuses. The Vermont senator came out on top 73% to 27% in Washington, 82 to 18 in Alaska, and 71% to 29 in Hawaii. Still, he will have an uphill battle to the nomination. According to CNN, before Saturday's contest, the former Secretary of State had amassed more than 1,700 of some 2,400 delegates she would need to clinch the nomination. Sanders had 952, meaning he would need to win 75% of the remaining pledged delegates to beat Clinton. The Clinton campaign had expected the losses, and they instead took advantage of it by portraying the defeat as a warning to donors that even though she has a commanding lead, her supporters will still have to chip in to help her secure the nomination. Korea has bagged the most medals in another International Abilympics. This year, the global competition for people with disabilities was held in Bordeaux, France. Team Korea, made up of veteran vocational workers, battle against contestants from 32 countries to grab 14 gold, 8 silver, and 2 bronze medals en route to defending their crown and winning it for the 6th straight time. Taiwan took second place while China came in third. President Park Geun-hye delivered a congratulatory message to the national team, saying they had raised the honor and pride of the Korean people. First held in 1981, the Abilympics was launched by the UN to commemorate the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. It's part of efforts to help them improve their vocational skills and participate in socio-economic activities. In addition to its competitiveness in the information technology industry, Korea has made big strides in agricultural technology over the years. For details on this story, we turn to our Kim Mo-gyun.
South Korea has been well acknowledged as the #1 country in the world when it comes to cultivation and production of ginseng. The country has achieved worldwide recognition for its stabilized production of high-quality ginseng and rice plants that are highly pest-resistant. And with continued efforts to develop its farming industry, Korea has emerged as one of the best countries in the world in agricultural technology. According to research held by the Korea Rural Development Administration on the top 10 countries that acquire some 36 major technologies in the farming industry, South Korea ranked 5th next to the United States, EU, Japan, and Canada. The nation's Agricultural Science Technology Index stood at 83.4 points last year, up from 80.7% in 2010 under the benchmark 100 set by the U.S.
I think the improvement is due to a continuous increase in R&D investment and the establishment of appropriate agenda items by the Rural Development Administration.
The organization forecasts South Korea's general agricultural technology to continue its growth, reaching a high of 88.4 points in the next 5 years. But to pursue this goal, it seems like Korea needs to put more effort behind its shortcomings, such as urban agriculture, care farming, and disaster prevention technologies. Kim Mo-gyan, Arirang News.
It's been 8 years since an arsonist set fire to Korea's historic south gate of Sungnyemun, also known as Namdaemun, but with the restoration work complete, it's time to bring back an honored tradition. The Seoul city government said Sunday the traditional changing of the guard ceremony featuring a chief gatekeeper and 3 other guards dressed in Joseon Dynasty uniforms will resume at the gate come April. It will be presented periodically from 10 a.m. through 4:30 p.m. every day of the week except on Mondays. A staff of 8 will be on hand during the ceremony to enhance security around Korea's first national treasure. Built in the 14th century, Sungnyemun is one of 8 gates that made up the 18.2-kilometer-long fortress wall that once surrounded Seoul. And now for a quick look at the weather forecast before we go. Time to put away your wintry weather gear as spring-like weather conditions are expected at the start of the week here in Korea. But Monday morning will start in the single digits, so do carry an extra layer out with you. Seoul and Daegu will start at 4 degrees Celsius. Daejeon will be at 1. Later on, the mercury will rise to 18 in Seoul and Daejeon and get up to 20 in Daegu. Well, that's Korea for you. Let's check out the weather conditions in other parts of our world. These are the stories we're following at this hour. As always, thank you for watching.